Welcome to the Better Barbarian podcast, where men learn to reclaim their power, rebuild their purpose, and become the kind of leaders their families want to follow. Here's your hosts, Travis Brown and Will Palmer.
If you want to reclaim power and rebuild your purpose, strengthen your faith, and be the man, like we said, your family and friends want to follow, here we go. This is not about becoming this soft, feminine first, empathetic guy. It's about becoming stronger in the places that actually matter most, that make an impact, that fulfill a purpose that you have that you don't know about yet. So what's cool is that we do have this on YouTube now, and you can email us questions at travandwill@thebetterbarbarian.com. Did you know that?
Dude, this is pretty wild.
You can comment on YouTube. Maybe your comment is about maybe this makes you uncomfortable, how I cross my legs because I'm a man.
Ouchies.
So, I don't know what it is. This is all elastic. It's all stretchy, all right? There's nothing confining.
Yeah.
Anywho, I listened to this podcast from very famous Harvard professor Arthur Brooks. Friend of mine had lunch with me on Monday. He's listening to my struggles in life, and he's like, can I just share this podcast with you? And he talked about how to get happier today. These are 5 habits that actually work. I was like, all right, let's hear it. What are they? And the 5 are, and we'll dive into them. I won't read them yet. We'll start with the number 1, but I think the context is helpful. Like, okay, how do you know what 5 things can make you happier starting today? Sounds like a clickbait article on Apple News or something. But there was a study done. It's called Ways to Greater Happiness, a Delphi study by a bunch of guys. We can put this in the show notes. And it was published in this Journal of Happiness Studies in 2020. And what Arthur Brooks talks about is from the 60s or something, and I might be getting this a little bit wrong, where they followed a bunch of people until their death and asked them questions every 5 or 10 years or something, and figured out there are 68 individual strategies that people use to raise happiness. And then they had these people rate them for effectiveness, feasibility, cost effectiveness. And so Brooks's podcast shows that these things are grounded in that study. These are journals from science and professional psychiatrists, psychologists, all of that stuff. And this is where the researchers rank the ways to get happier. And we'll just talk through them and see where this goes. Number 1, how to get happier. The number 1 habit is invest in your close relationships, which is in a lot of ways a central theme to this. Because what was that other comment that we got? We got 3 comments so far, which is exciting. I'm excited about it. But that guy commented about something.
Oh, it was listening to podcasts and watching clips like this to substitute brotherhood. Was it substituting brotherhood? Simulate.
Yeah.
To simulate. And to that, I would say you may want to re-listen to the first couple of episodes, namely, I think the first one, where we break down and challenge this very point to get intentional about who's around you. And if there aren't people around you that lift you up and you don't have quality relationships, you should find them. We even talked about how awkward it could be to go and make a friend as a man.
It seems like a lot of work. I already have friends.
True.
But what are my friends?
True.
Are they transactional friends through business? Are they surface level friends through my kid's school? Or are they friends that you can share the hardest stuff in life with? And like my buddy Tony, who reached out to me out of left field and was like, hey, I want to buy you lunch. Sure. I'm really busy. It took me a while to squeeze him in. Finally got him in on Monday, and he shared this podcast from Arthur Brooks, and here we are talking about it. So that's an example, a really simple example of developing friendships that can push you to be better. And I think vulnerability starts with that. I also had lunch with a friend of mine, Tyler, yesterday. Same thing, reached out to me. Hey, I want to buy you lunch. Okay, cool. And he's just such a great guy and curious about a lot of things like we are, and asked me some awesome questions. And this is a guy I haven't known a whole lot of time, who is a parent of girls that are in my kids' class. And he is vulnerable enough to say, Will, how's your relationship with religion and God right now? How's your relationship with God right now?
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't a challenging question because his is great. It was like, well, mine has been and hasn't been great. I think it matters in my life. What are you doing, and how does it matter to you? So that's just an example of that kind of relationship.
It's crazy because all of those started with just a step. They'll started with a step. Like you're taught, like the spot you're in started with, we take in, right? Like we take in podcasts and things to help us grow. We take in things that are helping us to understand what that brotherhood and friendships should feel like, what we should look for out of them. But we also know that we need those relationships in order to be our best. But you took a step a long time ago. You and your wife and me and my wife, you took a step to get into a small group through a church we used to go to. And was that a decade ago?
Probably longer, yeah.
12 years. So you took that step. Fast forward 12 years. That step led to this podcast being shared over a lunch with Soft Hands Tony, who, by the way, could catch any football you ever throw to him from any angle.
Tony Soft Hands.
And could still play even at this age and roast most of us, but he's also incredible. So if you fast forward that 12 years to where Tony's hands still soft, can catch anything, but now he's throwing podcasts your way that are very
throwing
helpful.
podcasts. Now I got to catch it.
Now we go back to think about the first step you took to interact with Tyler. And then you fast forward to that, him being open to be able to ask you that question and for you guys to explore that together.
Mm-hmm.
But you go back and you're like, you invited him to basketball. It's the same story we talked about where that guy shows up and then we find out his brother was there too. And they didn't even know they were both coming to the basketball thing.
Yeah, what are you doing
took a step and invited my neighbor to play basketball. You took a step and invited that guy. And here we are talking about impacting, going to lunch, having deep conversations. It started with something so simple.
Yep.
And so basic. So anyway, I went off on a crazy thing there, but when I saw that comment and I see invest in these close relationships and people overthink it, and they think it's going to be too hard, and they think that, I don't know what they're thinking, but you just have to connect. You just have to get out. You just have to yes, be part of the group. Yes. Oh, I'm too old and I might get hurt. Go play basketball. Don't overdo it. Don't kill yourself, but don't jeopardize your potential to earn money to pay your bills. But go and do that, or go be a part of a group, or say hi to the other dad who's there in the 95 degrees and like staring at his phone, and then like, okay, what in the heck else are we supposed to be doing right now while these kids are playing for hours and hours and hours? And connect. Notice they've got a tattoo. Notice the tattoo is like a bazillion miles. Be curious. Tell me about those tats, man. Do you run?
Mm-hmm.
Be curious. Like it is awkward, and it can be awkward. It can be hard for some people to think. Maybe they're naturally not extroverted, but you got to break through that discomfort in order to be able to foster, expand upon, grow, begin relationships.
Preach, baby.
Okay, that's the getting them started. That's the get out of your safe space, which is actually not safe.
Mm-mm.
Isolation,
It's
not
safe.
safe,
It's not
healthy.
Nope.
Get out of it. It actually is not comfortable, even though it feels it. False comfort, false safety. So, okay, now maybe you jump into the aspect that is we talked about going and finding, seeking, looking, working toward growing relationships. What about investing in your close relationships that you already have or maybe have gone cold?
Yeah, and I think the key here, at least it was for me, is to change how you view day-to-day life in the world. And what I mean by that, and I'll answer your question in a second, but I think this matters. Literally just 30 minutes ago, before we hit record, you and I have a check-in about how's the week been. So we do this weekly. Before the podcast starts, we check in with each other. And one of the things I was sharing with you is this idea, a lot of this coming from Arthur Brooks's podcast, which is called Office Hours, I think. Go check that out. Is this idea of, are you constantly thinking about your own needs versus how can I bless somebody else? And that is not intuitive for, I don't think, anybody. And I said this on an earlier episode. I think we all wake up, if you think of like, evolution and being a mammal and like an animal on Earth, you wake up and you're wired genetically to seek food, to seek shelter, to seek safety, to run away from predators and procreate genetically. And when we are and that's all self-serving, to survive. I have to survive. And so we wake up self-serving, and I think men, we're chasing success and money and status and comfort. And that's all baked into our DNA in a lot of ways. It's just applied to modern society versus having to go hunt a gazelle or whatever you ate. And that's the default. And I feel like the last week to 10 days, something special that I won't get into, I'll just say something very special happened in the dynamic of our relationship, where there was awareness between Melissa, my wife, and myself on what we have to individually own with how we want to show up, not just for the relationship, but for the family, for our kids and all of this. And she had an aha moment that she came to me with, and my ego was threatened subconsciously by her awakening. And without getting into the details, I realized I began focusing more and more on me. Like, how do I get out of anxiety or this depression feeling? Or how do I stop feeling pain from stuff that I had done in our relationship or that she had done in our relationship? And in the minute I was like, what if I just gave up control of success and finances and all of these things, and trying to like force all of these things to bend at my will, gave up and relinquished control, which then gives you spiritual freedom to take your heart and your love and put it towards other stuff. Because in your back of your mind, if you feel like, hey, however your spirituality exists, I'm going to be safe. No one's going to kill me today. I'm not going to starve. Like, I'm going to provide for my family one way or another, and get rid of those things as needing to be fixed. And then you can prioritize all of these meaningful relationships. And actually, and the whole thing here is that the happiness happens when you do something for somebody else. And Melissa will listen to this and be like, yeah, I've told you that for like 15 years. And she said that this morning when I was talking about what we might discuss. And I was like, you're right. Why does it have to be a podcast from somebody else or Travis? And I'm like, also right. That's usually the case for anybody. But the bottom line is, in real life, what it means is prioritizing your spouse, your kids, your family, your close friends, instead of treating relationships like whatever's left over after work. And happiness is this deeply relational thing, which is in the Bible as well. And a lot of people chase those things. And the point he's making is that your closest relationships are the foundation that actually holds our happiness together. And you kind of have to just trust that's true and go do it. And that's what I think opens your heart to. I just can think of all these little examples of me shifting my mindset. This has been a 48-hour shift for me. And that's why we're talking about it, because I shifted it, and all of a sudden I feel so much lighter. I'm driving home. You can't see it. There's an intersection right over here with a crosswalk. Cars are flying by. There's this old man with a cane in the middle of the road. No one's stopping for him. There's a car coming on. There's 2 lanes on my side of the street. I stop pretty far from him, so the car kind of flying behind me in the other lane maybe will stop too, which they did. And this man, like, through the 40 feet away from me, like, looked at me like through the windshield into my eyes, I kid you not, and was just this grin, this ear-to-ear smile, and like this really just appreciation to let him cross the dang street. And then when he crossed slowly, as he kind of hobbled along, and you could be impatient and annoyed, like, I got to get somewhere. And I was like, this guy is just so happy to safely cross the street. He crosses, and I slowly kind of drive by him, and he's just watching me and just thanking me through his gestures. And I'm like, I just felt so good after something so trivial that maybe most people would do because they feel like it's the right thing to do, but they're still annoyed by it. And I'm like, dude, like, he's happy, I'm so much happier, and I just carried that happiness on my way home.
The mindset led to the pause.
Yeah.
The pause led to the moment. The moment led to more moments. Isn't that wild?
Mindset.
Yeah.
I love how you just described that, like,
Yeah. It's crazy.
way that unfolds.
Crazy to think about it.
Yeah.
What if...
Oh, it's crazy. It is.
I was thinking if I was out there and I was like, oh, man, what if I don't have... what if I don't have great relationships with my family or extended family or in my household? Like, I mean, it says invest in your close relationships. Prioritize spouse, kids, family, close friends instead of treating them like whatever's left over. What if I wasn't blessed with a close family?
Yeah.
What do you got for me?
I mean, what would you say? You talked about the mindset and the steps and how it unfolds over time. There's no instant gratification necessarily, but like the step itself is pretty rewarding.
Yeah.
If you try it.
So the person who's asking that question needs to listen to what you went through, which is your mindset is wrong. You're thinking about everything you don't have. You're thinking about yourself. You're thinking about your terrible situation. Great, you can acknowledge it. But then if you're not going to take any action, and even if it's uncomfortable and it's hard and it's gradual, if you're not going to take any action, stop not taking action.
Yeah.
This is the most important, like the single most powerful
Number
thing.
one.
Yeah. If you don't make it any farther into the podcast, I mean, we would like for people to make it farther into the podcast. If you don't do this, how do you do this? We broke some of it down so many times in so many ways in the other podcasts. And now we're specifically citing the long-term scientific data that says this is the single most powerful thing you can do to get happier.
Yeah.
And so stop thinking about yourself. I mean, you can for a moment, but make sure you can get out of it and go focus on somebody else. Well, what if they don't receive it the way I want them to receive it? Stop being a baby barbarian.
Yeah.
And start being a better barbarian.
In podcast. The quote I love to reference, I've used forever, kind of ironically because they often don't abide by it. Happiness is a form of courage. And people are like, what does that mean? Well, what it means is that happiness requires intentional action to achieve it. And Arthur Brooks talks about this sort of belief that something's wrong with me when I'm anxious and depressed and feeling like my life is off. Like, I got to get rid of those feelings. I got to get rid of them. I'm going to like suppress them. I'm not going to pay attention to them. I'm just going to like force myself to be happy. But that's still about you. It's still about you. How can I force my way out of this? And if you're anxious, that doesn't work. It's very counterintuitive to say I'm going to focus on other people instead of my own issue. But that's what dissolves the anxiety and depression and fear, because you are giving up control of your own outcomes. And I would say for those that have done this and you think about abundance in your life and blessings, I mean, you just described this weird, like, years-long path of how to get to moments where you are blessed by these friendships. And it starts with just that little courageous act. And I feel like that's kind of the key. I lost my train of thought a little bit, but you know what I'm saying.
I mean, we're trying to, we're trying to give all the different angles that all the spots somebody could be in to like help. Cause like this study is revealing this. what does real life in 2026 look like as a dad, leader, business owner, non-business owner, but we probably have some type of significant burden on our shoulders inside and outside of the home. But so we're trying to say, hey, we're living it, we're working it, we're trying it, we're working it together with those people out there listening. But what does it look like in real life? What have we seen? What have we seen as the fruits of this labor, the labor of invest in your close relationships? So he talks about happiness. He also talks about in other talks and podcasts and scientific data that this is part of, this will extend, this has an opportunity to extend your life. Not only the quality, happiness, joy, but also the length of your life. So if you didn't even care about other people and you didn't care about relationships, if you just wanted to live longer, we are basically tricking you into living longer through having you do this.
It's true.
But we're not tricking you because we're completely transparent, telling you about how we failed, where we've been successful, and what you need to do. Get your butt out there, make the call, set the lunch, do the nice thing for your kids, do the nice thing for your wife. And if they snub it because it's the first nice thing you've done in a long time, it's okay. It's okay to be snubbed. Did you do it? Did you do it so that they would like, oh my gosh, you're the best dad in the world?
Yeah.
Or did you do it because it was the right thing to do, is the great thing to do, and it helps you be happier?
Totally.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of guys, especially high performing guys or successful guys through the lens of profession and career, are really anxious because of the intense focus on moving the needle professionally. And I know for me, a lot of times we use like negative feelings like anxiety as fuel and motivation to actually get us to perform at a high level. I fall into that trap constantly. It's like my default. The more anxious I am about work, the more I care. Well, no, you're going to care whether you're anxious about a future feeling of anxiousness, which is not helpful. That's a weird cycle to be in. But if you are basically giving up control over those outcomes and knowing and trusting yourself that you're going to do what you have to do to succeed, but the marker of happiness isn't that worldly, superficial status thing. It's actually in your heart. Do you feel like you are blessed in your life, and are you blessing others? And you change, like if you want to say KPI or whatever marker actually indicates happiness, you have to make a conscious shift into something outside of yourself. And then it's just amazing the abundance and the blessings that come to you instead of you chasing them when you are going out there and have a vulnerable heart and are making connections. All of these opportunities you never thought existed, you could say with relationships or career or otherwise, suddenly they appear in front of you. And it's because you allowed these relationships to exist and to grow deep. And all of a sudden you have all of this opportunity you wouldn't have otherwise had because you're no longer forcing this control over the outcome. You just give it to God or give it. And he talks a lot about his faith, and he's Catholic. And I don't care. We say this a lot. What God you believe or don't believe in, call it spirituality, call it divine intervention, or call it like your meaning of life. If you just give up control over the outcomes of things and know you're safe, that's a good starting point. Like that's like the little seed you can plant in your own heart. It's hard to do. You kind of have to just choose to do it.
Yeah.
Just choose.
And choose each day. You have to go back and choose each day. And then if you feel like there's been one day where you didn't choose that, don't let it be 2 days. Don't let it be 3 days. Don't break the cycle of choosing other things.
Yeah. And I know we're spending a lot of time on this, and we'll move on. But the only other thing I'll say,
is the single most powerful.
I know
thing.
it's true, right?
So I feel like that's where. Yeah.
So how do you choose it? I'm just gonna wake up and say I choose to be open-hearted today and to think outside myself. It won't work like that. You can't just speak it. The way I chose it, I described Monday. I woke up at 5:30. I used to do this. We talked about the Alpha Rise and Shine, which is a term used in a group I am still a part of called The Powerful Man. You should go look at that. That's really cool. where I wake up at 5:30. What did I do? I spent 15 minutes in my own faith, speaking to my version of God and my Jesus, saying, I want to be like the greatest leader on earth by thinking outside of myself and just being loving. And then I did some meditation on the Calm app. I've used a whole bunch of like waking up. There's a whole bunch of apps. Pick your app, Headspace. Did some meditation to ground myself. Did a workout in my garage. Lifted some heavy weights, and that made me feel like I am ready to take on the day and be my best self. But that required me waking up early, which required me to not eat a bunch of crap the night before or smoke THC the night before and all this different stuff that hindered my sleep. Like, you just got to make some sacrifices to then. And then I woke up on, Monday going into work, and Tuesday and today, which I've done 3 days in a row of this, feeling completely different. So I made sacrifices and cut out stuff like sugar and THC on the front end, which sucked. It really did. I love eating a giant bowl of like Honey Nut Cheerios right before I go to bed, or ice cream. And then doing these things, and then just make some sacrifices, and then just be really aware of how you feel and not suppress it. Because I just glide on the surface of most of my emotions. I don't let myself go deep on anything because I want to protect my heart from pain. And when you are conscious of that fact, you're like, gosh, me protecting myself is hurting myself. And so that's how you choose. You have to do something outside of your normal routine. You can't just speak it into existence and think it's inside of your heart permanently. You have to like do some drastic stuff. It's just the reality.
It's the I'm gonna versus I did. I'm doing it. I am doing this.
Yeah.
It will happen. It's booked. It's scheduled. I'm getting up.
You know how you get confidence? You make a promise to yourself. You keep a promise to yourself. As a man, that's going to give you confidence to change. And that's what I did. Sunday night, talking to my wife, I am going to make a promise to you and to me and to whatever, to God, that I'm going to wake up at 5:30. Hold me accountable to it. This is my promise. When I visualized my watch and my alarm going off at 5:30, not hitting snooze, and saying, I'm going to keep my promise to myself. And the confidence that alone creates to keep going is pretty cool. But you got to try it out. So,
and the feeling, it's wild because like when you do it, like the moments that you have because of it, it's kind of wild. It's like if you don't do this, you may not realize some of the moments that you'll have. It's hard to conceptualize sometimes some of the moments that you can have, and some of the like ahas, and some of the ways that you can be shaped if you'll allow yourself to be shaped, So it's wild. Just getting to the island, is what like kind of, I guess that would have been my experience this week. Just getting my butt down to the island in quiet time. And I've told you, I was lucky enough to get my grandfather's Bible that he used in his last 3 years of life. And there's bookmarks, and there's notes, and there's things in there. And it even smells like an old dude.
Right. You're like, oh,
I'm like,
yeah.
That smells a lot like my old
Smells
grandpa.
like grandpa. Yeah. Grandpa's in here. Yeah.
So all that to be said, it's just taking the action. And my gosh, there could be so many special things. It may not be day one miracle, and it's not our plan, but like our plan and our thing is we're pedaling down, we're getting to the island or the chair or whatever it is, getting out of bed and getting in that space. And then the transformation can happen.
Yeah. I mean, most men want more respect from their family. They want more sex from their wife. They want more respect at work. When you lead your life in the way we're describing, those things are nearly a guarantee.
Oh, yeah.
Nearly guaranteed. And so there you go. There's the recipe.
We're gaming the system.
We're gaming it. Yeah. Because Arthur Brooks talks about like society's evolution into anxiety and opioids and painkillers and just like the whole 9 yards. I mean, it has to be said, like, especially kids, young adults in their 20s and 30s, men especially, are suffering silently from so many things.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're sick and tired of that suffering, here's your game plan.
Oh, yeah.
So go execute it. Yeah.
Yep.
The second one, you want to read this guy? It kind of ties in to the first
Yeah.
one.
Yeah. So the biggest word in this is belonging. Where do you feel and know that you belong? So join a club or values-based community.
That's
Club or
two, yeah.
values-based community. So this is about belonging. In Arthur Brooks, when he's describing this stuff, he talks about how joining a club or community can restore a person's sense of connection. So, my gosh, this goes back to one where we talked about, it says, join a club or values-based community. This is interesting. Recently, I heard a story about a guy who joined a club or values-based community, a couple of them, a dozen years ago. A dozen years later, he's sitting at a lunch with a guy who has soft hands and pays for his lunch.
Yeah.
And sends him podcasts.
Great barbecue, by the way.
And now we're here.
Yeah. Exactly.
So, okay, the key phrase is values-based community, meaning it is not just random socializing. Like, we have a purpose for this community, right? We can still be chill. We could still maybe, I don't know, have a beer or something like that. But we have a purpose. It's a group organized around something you actually care about.
Yeah.
Could be a church group, men's group, recovery group, workout group, service organization, book club, sports league, professional peer group. The idea is happiness grows when you're not just living as an isolated individual, but as part of a shared we. Actually, one of our small group buddies, who is incredible, warm, great community, great relationship. But one time he shared a story about, he was talking to a very influential person in his life, and the influential person accidentally made a really great, incredible quip or clip.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, it's about we. The weeness.
The weeness. I'm just going to repeat it for people that need to understand.
This is a...
How long have you had that
the
teed
nugget?
up?
The nugget?
Yeah.
It just happened.
Oh my God.
It just happened. It literally, as I saw it on the page and I was like, he's talking weeness.
Find a weeness is number 2.
Yes.
A really it's got to be a values-based weeness.
Values-based weeness.
T-shirts on sale starting next week.
VBW.
Yeah, we're gonna make some T-shirts with that.
A VBW. That comes from a pastor who was mentoring our friend. I'll say his name. Our friend Jay, who we were in a values-based community with over 10 to 15 years ago. That comes from...
Yeah, crazy.
That story comes from Jay, who was in a values-based community, had that interaction. Then I'm in a values-based community with Jay. He shares the interaction because we got deep and vulnerable, and he's telling this hilarious story. Bam, 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 bam. It hits on every level, people. I don't know what more we can do.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, and the easiest one I think about, it's like, we're talking church, and I think people that do or don't go to church, I think a lot of times it's like, well, I don't believe half of what they believe, and that's okay. You don't have to. I think it's rare you're going to find a church or religious organization where you just inherently believe every word of their mission or value statement. And it's not even about that. It's just about like joining other people that care about growth and care about living outside themselves.
Yeah.
Church isn't the only one. I think you just have to be honest. Like, where do these guys hang out that seem to care about personal growth and development? It could be a work-related group too. Like, you started Purpose to Lead, which is a professional, peer leadership and faith-based group where we come together monthly. You've organized all this cool stuff to talk about real life and real struggle and real breakthrough. And you can either go find that by doing searches on Google or make one yourself. Usually you're not going to start by making one yourself, but I'm just saying, if somebody had a gun to my head and was like, go find a values-based organization that you think you would have interest in, I could do it before the end of the day.
Oh, yeah.
You just got to do it.
Yeah.
And it's just so much cool stuff. And, I'm new. Like, there's like workout groups that meet in the mornings that are faith-based. I'm trying to remember that. The F5 is one.
Oh, yeah.
I've never done it. I probably never done it because I'm like, well, what, or like joining a gym or like a workout class where people are working on their health. Like, oh, I'm new. It's weird. Are they going to judge me? I'm going to join a church small group. What if I don't know the Bible as much as these other people? Like, there's so many stories in your head that will surface every time. Like, you're never going to think of something and be like, I'm going to join that fearlessly and accepted wholeheartedly. Like, you're going to hear the stories in your head as to why you shouldn't do it. And you basically say, F off, stories in my head.
Yeah.
F off.
Get on out of here.
I don't care.
Get on out of here. It's time to be who I was created to be. And it's time to have happiness, fulfillment, and a longer life. It's time to extend my life.
Those things suck, Travis. I don't want those things.
Dude, I want to be... Okay, can I just... When you were talking about the old guy... I wonder if anybody else was thinking about a CAPTCHA where it asks you
No, they weren't, but go ahead.
pictures of old guy. And then I was thinking about a CAPTCHA of an old guy. And then you have to click which one has an old guy crossing the crosswalk.
Thank you, Travis.
In order to get into the program I want to use.
Thank you for your feedback. Yeah. I will let you continue on that thought if you'd like to add more to it.
I actually think... Now,
old guy with cane has to have a cane.
Yes,
for the
has
CAPTCHA
to have
to
a
approve.
cane. Otherwise, you'll have to get another one, and then it's like audio if you're blind or something like that.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Okay.
Yeah, accessibility.
All right. So, but values-based communities is what that was all about, anyway.
Yeah, you did
So,
it with Bro Grow
club
basketball.
or values-based communities. This is about belonging, and basketball. Started with just 2 or 3 guys. It was like a lot of 1-on-1, a lot of 2-on-2,
a lot of 21, pig, and just shooting
using the
around
shooting
the world
machine.
Yeah.
Like,
It's all good.
and then a couple of times there was like 30 people.
Yeah.
There was 30 people.
30.
And we were talking about, if you're going through something, just please connect with somebody in this group. We'd have people say like, I specialize in failing in this area. I specialize in, but really what they mean is I failed in this area and I've come out of the woods. So if that's something you're working through,
That's it.
holla at your boy.
Dude, and come out of the woods.
Yes.
If you think your struggles aren't shared by most people you come in contact with, you're wrong. And I know that, and you know that because I share TMI struggle stuff and stories with people I don't know very well, whether it's porn addiction because I lead a men's recovery in that, or stopping alcohol. I've done that twice, most recently this last December. Haven't drank since. And you just drop these things, and all of a sudden guys are like, I thought about that. Or, wow, you do that? That sounds scary. Or, wow, your marriage is struggling? I thought I'm supposed to answer, how are you, with, man, I'm good. I'm great. How are you? Where are you going this summer? What are you doing? Like, people are struggling behind their whatever life they claim is great. So just
Insta life.
put the walls down.
Yeah. The filter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
the gram.
All right, let's go to next one. Number 3. So we got number 1, invest in relationships, join a club or values-based community. I love number 3, be a lifelong learner. And our guy Brooks connects lifelong learning with growing happiness over time as you learn. And it's not about like school and credentials and tests. It's about staying curious and stretching your mind and reading and asking better questions, learning new skills, refusing to be mentally stagnant. And the practical takeaway for that is that happiness is helped by mental growth. And when you keep learning, you keep giving your brain new meaning and new challenges and new ways to engage with life. And if you are stuck, learning can create momentum again. Like get the gears that were stalled turning. And I as a lifelong learner and sort of hyper fixated on new things kind of constantly, which could be my ADHD or ASD brain, maybe I struggle a little bit with thinking people don't like to learn, but I think that's true. I think people just get into a job or a career or a life, and they just, or even with their faith, and they're like, I'm good, I got it figured out. I'm not going to accept any new ideas. I'm just going to be full of pride and basically claim I know this area well enough, I know that area well enough, and I'm just going to accept the hand of life that was dealt to me. And if I'm in misery, I'm in misery. It is what it is. But they give up on learning because why? Because it takes effort? I'm not actually sure. But what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I think it's kind of wild. It's that people, or you may even already be able to predict that I'm going to say. So just look at the example. So this topic and the information and the research behind it is learning. And the learning came from the values-based community that you joined 12 years ago, and the relationship that you gained in there was, and so this came from, it all goes back to the single most powerful thing, which led to the great relationship that you have with the softest of hands, but the best of influencing, the best of helping you grow, personally trying to grow himself and learn himself, shared it. So, okay, now we come back to lifelong learner. Now, lifelong learning is not only pursuing growth and like looking for these things, but being open to being shaped and molded, and being able to absorb wisdom. The thing I read this week during my quiet time when I was disciplined in one of these days this week was pursue wisdom as a buried treasure. Pursue wisdom as if you're Nicolas Cage in, what's this movie? The treasure, it's got the pyramid.
I know what you're talking about.
Okay. But he breaks into the Smiths, gets all the clues and everything and finds it. So anyway, all that to be said, pursue wisdom, pursue learning, pursue these things.
And I think, it doesn't have to be some deep spiritual awakening you're trying to pursue.
National treasure.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you.
It doesn't have to be a national treasure.
Is there any other puns we can think about with this?
It could be a local treasure.
Treasures, what is it?
My pleasure, my treasure.
It's my pleasure, my treasure. I don't know why I say it like that, but
I don't know either.
You're pursuing. But this talks about like, all right, you're doing something that you enjoy and you find interest in. I mean, it could be photography. It could be like pottery. Get a potter's wheel. I mean, it could be anything. New music you want to listen to, and just learning about stuff and pursuing it. I mean, that's just gratifying. That's a way to fill your cup so you can fill other people's cup. So yeah, again, we're talking about the root of happiness. I guess I do know people that are so stuck in their ways, whether it's because of age or the religious group they belong with or the community they're in, that basically says it's our way or the highway, and that stuff is pretty prominent. Maybe just if you have an open heart, you might consider pursuing different things. Like Brooks talks about being a devout Catholic and the meaning of that religion for him and the community, in believing wholeheartedly in really the aspects of that faith, but also having read, and he has an interview with Rainn Wilson. Dwight Schrute from The Office is another one I was just listening to, about gathering information around the Torah or reading the Bible from cover to cover and looking at Buddhism and Hinduism and Eastern, philosophy and Western philosophy, not because he's trying to find necessarily the meaning, but it's just because as a learner, you want to see how do other people view the world. It's like Ryan Holiday and his Stoicism movements around like the Stoics, and just going to fundamental beliefs and relearning what man has known for like thousands of years. I'm not sure where I'm going with that, but my point is just open up your horizons, I think.
It's curiosity.
Thank you. That's right.
I've been, my gosh, I marvel sometimes when like you meet a really genuinely curious person and they want to know more about you. They want to know how you got to this spot. They want to know, and you're like, oh, wait a second. Like, wait a second.
Yeah.
I want to ask you, I'm curious too, you know, but you meet like a naturally curious person who's wanting to continue to learn, wanting to grow, wanting to hear how you navigated things. Like, I think that's the thing too. Again, I mean, my gosh, this goes back to like pointing away from self and like wondering about others. Wondering, is there a way you could serve them? Wonder, is there a way you could listen to them? Like wondering who they are, what they do, how they do it. Like, yeah. So it's just wild to think back about like this lifelong learner it's like, again, it goes back to stop overthinking about what it should look like and go do it. Yeah. Like I had a guy one time, I was at a table and I was talking about how I learn. And dude, I still know him. He's a really, really smart dude. And he basically had this quote that he heard when he was in like the military officer, all these, you know, probably has all these like all these things on his shirt that indicate he's very declarated and
decorated. Yeah.
He said he had this quote about actual reading books. He said this after I said I actually spend more time listening to the author give keynotes and reading articles and listening to the practical application than I ever do actually reading the book itself. I listen to them describe. I mean, that's the way I learn. That's the way I consume information and then apply it. And then he said this quote basically saying, if you don't read, you're an idiot.
Yeah, exactly.
And I was like, okay, cool. That's fine.
Okay, thanks.
It's all good. Okay. So, but we were rapping before that about we're trading quotes from these authors. And then he stuck with that. I was like, dude, I just want to say, don't overthink it.
I love
right?
that.
Like if you're not going to be an avid reader, worst case scenario, just say, hey, I want to read one book. I want to read 2 books. How many pages a day is that going to take? Read the pages a day. What are you going to consume that's going to help you grow to be closer and closer to your best version of yourself?
Man, I love that. And what you say about curiosity, I think is the best point that's been made on here, because I think about the feeling of curiosity and applying it to like common everyday stuff. You mentioned being curious about other people. Well, I started this whole thing with like being curious about other spirituality and doing things to fulfill your desire for knowledge. But you talked about how to apply it outside of yourself, which I think is even more important now that I think about it. So you're curious about somebody else and you're asking questions and you're creating connection. I think about, so my employees, I run a marketing agency, digital agency. We have about 25 employees. And I help them to understand the power of their own curiosity. And you think about your career, whatever you do, whether you're somebody that leads or even doesn't lead people. But if you are curious about your own job and ways it could be different or better, if I have employees that are smart, creative, and curious, what are they going to do? They're going to be like, hey, I wonder if there's a better way to do this. I feel safe enough to tell Will about this idea. But that curiosity and that learning of, like, could be anything, can not only help them advance their career, because I'm probably willing to promote people that bring those proactive, curious things and ideas and solutions to the table. You know, that could help your career. That could help build different connections. That could help create, like, I have all these thoughts and ideas. Like if I like somehow had no need to work and retire tomorrow, what would I actually do? I'd be into art, being really curious about how I could create with photography and pottery, getting on stage and doing some stand-up comedy and being curious about the art of public comedy and speaking. And anyway, my point is it can really accelerate what you feel is like meaningful in your life. And we talk about chasing success and all these other things. That's not chasing success. That's just chasing intellectual curiosity about things and people. And the opportunities they just appear in front of you when you do that. So anyway, I think that's really awesome about curiosity, what you said.
Yeah, I was just thinking all of a sudden, like, imagine, I mean, they had access, but like, imagine, I was just thinking about my grandfather if he wanted to learn something new.
Yeah.
Versus me.
Yeah.
I can literally prompt something that knows everything ever.
Mm-hmm.
I can prompt it and say, give it a prompt specifically designed to my learning style with the outcome I'm looking for. I can't even
It's right
believe
there.
it.
It's too stupid.
If I was to call, I'll be like flipping through my grandpa's Bible. It smells like him. I'd be like, dude, Grandpa, there's this thing. Check it out.
Yeah, AI.
Be like-
Let's go.
He'd be like, I know what he would say. He'd be like, you probably ought to spend more time in that book.
Yeah,
I'll call
yeah.
you later.
True. Yeah. That's awesome, dude. I love it.
Okay.
You want to let's hit number 4, dude.
Number
What do you
4,
got?
focus on something bigger than yourself. Ooh, man. This one's hard. We've talked about this. This has been a common thread. And then they just build on each other, don't they? It's the data, people. These are in order of importance based upon the data, but it just seems like they build on each other. It just seems like a group of rules, a set of rules that when combined and used holistically could be a freaking cape. Could be a
Yes,
freaking
a cape.
It could
Yeah.
turn you into super you.
Super you.
Yeah.
I want to be super me. So,
So-
yeah, what does that mean, though?
So transcending your ego through faith, philosophy, awe, or other bigger than self experiences. It's about, it's the idea that a lot of unhappiness comes from being trapped inside your own worries.
Yes.
This is true.
I'm just saying, yes.
Yes.
This is me all the time.
Yes, me. Self-focus. Comparisons. Oh my gosh. Come on. Comparisons. Ambitions, resentments, fears. Yeah. Something bigger than yourself could be God, prayer, worship, nature, service, contemplation, philosophy, mission, all. The goal is regularly step outside the small me, or meanness is probably what you were thinking, the me-centered frame, and remember that your life is part of something bigger.
This is my favorite one, I got to be honest.
Brooks says this brings clarity and peace.
Can I just get some peace in my life for 2 seconds? Please? Like, what do I got to do to just be at peace for a second and stop worrying? Okay, so I don't, for me, right, there's 68 of these. They followed thousands of people for like their whole life, I think. That's if I recall. And maybe for me, maybe it's because of what I just shared with you earlier, but like the number one thing that I've realized recently is this. This thing. 40 years old, recently realizing that focusing on something bigger than myself is the key. He talks about it in one of his podcasts, the micro world we live in, which is like, man, I got to get home and deal with my kids, and I got all these deadlines at work, and like blah 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 blah, my finances, and like how are we gonna pay for this, and like my dog is sick, whatever. Macro version of you is way different. We're a speck on a speck on a speck floating in this universe, and all of a sudden, in fact, he gives an example in his podcast about these students that have to take an undergrad class at Harvard around astrology or astronomy, and how, and I guess they did either spoke to these students, or maybe there was a study, it doesn't really matter, how they felt coming out of that class. And it's not like they always took it because they had to. It was either an elective or required. Their degree could be in something completely different, like, legal or communications or business. And then there's this astronomy class, and all of a sudden they're coming out feeling so great because there's this perspective of like, I'm worried about this tiny thing or things. Zoom the heck out and realize like I have this holistic life. and this giant thing that could provide real impact and meaning. But you can't do that unless you zoom out. And I told you this story right before we started talking about the shift I made mentally to stop being the victim and to stop feeling like when Melissa had this change of heart about how she wanted to show up in our relationship and for our family, my ego, the ego version of me, became protective and defensive of her beautiful awakening because I feared the intimate connection that could create in our own marriage and the beautiful things that could come out of it. I feared that because I felt like I might have it all crumble down because I make a mistake. Let's think about that for a second. How inward is that of me to be like, when I screw something up, I'm going to sabotage all of my family's peace and happiness out of fear. And that goes all the way back to like, just let go, control, relinquish control. And the fear no longer plays a role because you're thinking way bigger about your meaning of life than the micro situation you're in. I just love it.
You know what I was thinking about when you went through that is I was thinking about how many people out there are so gifted at doing this in their career. They're gifted at flying from this high, seeing all the different pieces, not allowing one day or one metric or KPI or one person's interaction. They're like, it's all part of something bigger. Then they fly back down. They interact with just the amount of leadership and interaction they need. And then they pull back up, they pull down. There's so many people who are gifted at this. And then they start their car and they start driving home, and then they forget about how to go up and come back down and to be able to, like, it's so wild. And I think a lot of it is like, I mean, just imagine if you were coaching you. I mean, imagine if you were coaching you would be like, if it was Bill or, Phil. So Will is coaching Phil, and Will's like, bro, do you realize how beautiful this situation is? Your wife and your family is headed to exactly where you always wanted to go. Let's talk about that. Will would tell Phil probably what we probably need to help get your mindset changed. And how are we going to do that? Well, are you understanding that you're losing focus on the fact that you're part of something bigger than just you? Yeah, isn't that wild?
It's crazy.
Will would tell Phil, but because Will is in it and all these things are coming at him, it's like
I'm just like trying to block all of life's stuff, like
whoa.
Sorry
How
for that.
dare you work the way I wanted you to work?
It's true. Well, and again, it goes back to like our DNA, and we are wired to react and get out of fear, but our fears are irrational. If we're honest nowadays, it's totally irrational. Now, I think I love the analogy of up and down. You're flying the plane high. You're kind of doing what it takes to get it back up. But how do I know what is the macro thing? What is the bigger thing? Well, we talked about it before. The vision for your life. Guess what? You can write down anything you want. It could be the vision for your career. It could be the vision for your family. If you're single and you're in college or whatever, it could be the vision for your future. It's really the vision for your future. But you gotta actually create one.
Oh, that is practical. That is the practical way that dudes can get better in this area.
Yep.
Bigger than yourself is a vision. You can write down the vision of bigger than yourself. You can map out what this looks like, and you can take small steps to get there.
When do we do that? I mean, if you're listening or watching, and I'm not talking about like a New Year's resolution. I want to lose this weight. I want to go to this, travel this place. But like, what is the vision you have? And this is how you do it. You take a piece of paper out and you say, in 5 years from now, in a perfect world, there are no rules. You are the creative artist of this story. You know, don't even let anything hold you back with how you write this. What does like this incredible life look like in 5 years for you, no matter what circumstance in life you are in? If you're married, if you're not married, if you have kids or not, if you're in school or not, you have a career, you don't, your body, your physical, doesn't matter. What's the vision look like? Create it. And then when you're up here talking about the 30,000 foot view, that is like galvanized in your heart. I mean, think about it from a business standpoint. We do entrepreneurial operating system at Growth Lab, and that's what we are forced to do. 1, 3, 5, 10-year vision is what you're doing now going to achieve that vision. And when you feel really stressed out about little things, you think, is this really going to prevent me from my vision of life? No, you're just going to deal with it. But it gives you, it's like a magnet that motivates you and pulls you through the mud of daily life, because there's a greater purpose, way cooler than a tiny daily loss or win. And that's what I think they're talking about, is like, focus on the big picture. You can't do that if you don't know what the big picture is. So go create it.
Yeah.
Please create it.
Don't overthink it. Keep it simple. If you want some structure, you could even write inside the vision, I want my close relationships to look and feel like this. I want to be part of this type of values. I want to be a club. I want to learn this. I want to read this many books or listen to these types of podcasts. You know, it's all in here.
It is.
It's right there.
I'm gonna. I had this sitting next to me. I'm like, there may be a chance where this makes sense or not. And I think we could create our own podcast once I feel like this is valuable. But there's this thing called Encoded.ai, and spend a little bit of money for this. But they send you this Encoded Anchor journal, and it's like a daily thing. But it kind of forces you to gain clarity of yourself. So this is from Monday's entry, and here's. We talk about vision and then we'll go to the last one, but here's the practical thing besides just saying, what does 5 years look like? If you want to get a little more specific, because that might be hard for some people, write 3 to 5 I am statements. And it doesn't mean who you are right now. It's who you want to be. What I wrote is I thought about this. I am a calm and grounded leader, safe for my family. That's who I want to be. I am an athlete who honors and strengthens my body fearlessly. I am a seeker of men, and I want and seek to change the lives of men around me. I pursue faith and let God enter my life, and I turn to my wife for intimacy and connection. Those are the clarity of what I am. And then you can write 3 to 5 sentences that are empowering beliefs. What I am choosing to believe. That I know my worth. I don't need to prove my worth. That's number 1. I am radically honest at all times. I've struggled with honesty. It is crushed me and people around me. That's who I choose to believe. I speak with truth and courage. Honesty accelerates healing in my marriage. 4 is I say strong in uncertainty. And 5 is pressure reveals my strength and integrity. And then the last thing you can do is write 3 to 5 sentences on your future, what I believe is coming. And basically what you can do to make this happen. I wake early and prepare the day for adventure. Curiosity and adventure go hand in hand. That's number 1. Number 2, my wife and I face reality together, and I create a home where feelings are safe. 3, I keep my word and stand steady in the storm. 4, my relationship with God is active and strong. I lead my family through faith. 5, my desire belongs fully in my marriage, passion, trust, and play. Our home is peaceful and joyful. That is the kind of stuff we're talking about, where your vision is bigger than your day-to-day. Write it down. Wake up early and write it down. So
yeah,
we get the idea here.
My gosh, can you imagine if you had started that before you were married?
Oh, dude, you'd be on top of the world by this time.
What a gift.
Oh man.
Because then when the storm hits, you have a map.
And you're a lighthouse. You withstand the waves and the wind and the storm, because you're like, storms are life. I am bigger than this particular storm. I'm a giant lighthouse. I got light shining. I got places I'm going. This storm ain't going to define me. If you're thinking of yourself, this storm does define you. And it does for me a lot. And it's not fun. It sucks.
It's crazy to think right now if you didn't have a whole bunch of other living people around you in the home, that your name was on the mortgage, your name's on the LLC, your name's on all these things. You are the dad, you are the husband, you are this. It's obviously incredibly important at every phase in life. But I was just I was just thinking about, my gosh, to voluntarily enter into this prior to having a whole bunch of other humans rely on you. Like,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
Now, okay, now we fast forward to Dadville. It's very important.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So even if it's not too late, if you got a whole bunch of kids and they're clinging on to you all the time, if anything, it's the exact right time.
Imagine just coming home one day to your wife or your roommate, if you're not married, or a friend, and being like, "Hey, last night I created some visions for my life. You're part of that vision. Can I share it with you?
Whoa.
If you want sex, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm just saying."
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's powerful stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And we talk about, like, on our website, becoming the man that your family, friends, brother, parents, people want to follow.
Mm-hmm.
This is how you gain people to follow you. And it's not a thing because, like, if I'm being followed, then I'm important and I have meaning. No, it means that you are living in such a way that people look at. This is what I told about you. People see you living in a certain way with a certain level of joy and happiness, and it's not because you're wired to just be annoyingly happy or something from people that are annoyingly depressed about life. The work you put into that is a massive amount over many years, and you are living proof that when you do this work, you have so much joy in your life. And the things that have been hard for you, whether it's transitions in work or trying to create your vision for your career as it's transitioned and moved around, or how can you impact people? I see storms come to your life because we're close, and I see you handle them with such, it's just like this joy and this curiosity and this, we said, adventure. And it's like, dude, is this guy just unshakable? Like, he does have a cape. It's crazy. And then that affects me. You teach me through action and living, and sometimes some hard truths, to put the cape on, because I deserve a cape too. Everyone here is worthy of a cape.
Mm-hmm.
They just have to choose to put it on.
Yep.
So,
and you can be, the biggest thing is, I think going back to that, and I appreciate you saying that stuff. The biggest thing is, you go back to the foundation that this is built on. The way that I would be able to go through storms in a way where I can still be happy is most of it's just right in here. Yeah. Most of it's just right in investing in my close relationships, being part of a values-based community, continuing to be curious, and then focusing on something bigger than myself. And then especially now, how hard, it's crazy to think how hard you have to work and the discipline you have to put in order the other things that are not just happiness, but have a better, longer quality of life, are like muscle mass and physical exercise.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you look at all these things. I mean, I don't think it's a coincidence that when you regularly work out, you're happier.
Yeah.
It's a reward. Hey, that's the right, yeah, do that. Now, it's hard.
Exactly.
It's hard to do. Like a lot of this stuff, it's uncomfortable. And then you don't experience the beauty until you get on the other side of it. It's like a lot of this stuff is like that.
It is. It's all like that.
Let's go. Let's do it together. Let's lift the door to the gym. Let's lift the door. Let's get out.
Yes.
Let's run. Let's do it. And then on the other side of it, you're like, oh my gosh. Have you ever heard these people who we may be kind of these people now, But through like, man, I have so much energy when I'm like in my, when I'm kind of making sure I get some exercise. I have so much energy. And now I'm like, my gosh, especially when we try to run basketball with 20 something non-dads.
Yeah.
My gosh, they're incredible. They can just run forever. But then I'm like, okay, week, I need to do a good job this week. Because if I don't, these people who don't really have to work out all the time and they don't care what they eat and they just show up and they can just run up and down and have a six-pack.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to keep up with them.
Yeah.
That is the MVP trophy.
It is.
That I'm looking for. Is
Yeah.
just keeping up.
Sunday, this kid was guarding me, and I'm like, can I just ask how old you are? I said that to him, like in the paint, like before the ball was put in, and he's like, smiled, and he's like, I'm 20. I'm like, I'm 40. I'm going to need you to play at about 50%. I'm going to play at close to 90. We will still be not equal, but it'll feel good for both. I was kind of messing with him, but to your point.
Yep.
And then number 5, what you just alluded to, is get more physical exercise.
Yep.
And so, Arthur Brooks frames it in this way. Exercise may not instantly make you euphoric, but it reduces unhappiness, and that matters a lot. Movement helps regulate mood and stress and anxiety, energy, emotional resilience. And he talks a lot about it's not because it is easy and it makes you instantly happy, because you're right. It's a great analogy of lifting heavy things, running really far, or doing any step physically, swimming. Typically in the moment, especially if you're new to it, feels like crap. Mm-hmm. Like when I started running about 9-10 months ago, it was the only necessity I had to begin, because I've never been a runner, was so that I could go on this backpacking trip to the Teton Mountains with a group of guys. I knew one of which very well. 8 others I knew them not at all, and I didn't want to be the guy dragging my sorry butt up a mountain, 4,000 vertical feet up with 45 pounds on my pack, being a baby barbarian about it. I'm like, I gotta do this. In running, when I first did it, I hated it for months until I stopped hating it. Anyway, the point is, you're reducing the unhappiness. And he also says it's not to make you a fitness maniac, because a lot of people have that as sort of this numbing addiction deal. That's a whole nother thing. It's not a mood, it's not to become a fitness maniac. It's that your body is part of your happiness system, like the nervous system. Walking, lifting, running, biking, stretching, anything that gets you moving can make you your emotional load of life feel lighter. Mm-hmm. And so that's great.
Emotional load of life feel lighter from doing heavy things. Yeah. So many paradoxical things inside of this.
Yeah, for sure. So as we end, I really love the way this bigger theme is described, which this is maybe the single most important mind shift tweak you can make starting right now that could be huge. Open up every door for you, which is saying happiness is not a mood you wait for. It's a strategy you build. Mm-hmm. That's why happiness is a form of courage. You have to create a happiness plan through understanding, regular practice, and teaching or sharing what you learn with others, which is what we just did. Mm-hmm. And so if you are new to this podcast, comment, share it, like it, let the algorithms help us out to reach other men, because sharing and liking this selfishly is great for us, but it's not what matters. It's that giving this and empowering other men to feel confident in pursuing the strategy to be happy is in of itself a blessing.
Yep. And the practical aspects of this, the practical ways and the real life ways, whether it's work, family, friends, whatever it may be, all these things going on, it's taking this and saying, in 2026, as a man, this is what the study says, this is what you need to do. This is what we've done. This is where we've been good. This is where we've not made it. Like all these things, the practical ways that this can be applied in 2026 as a dude is like, that's the thing. And like, what if people just started or just restarted, right? Or like, just, that would be so incredible. You know, if there were better men, were their best version of themselves, are getting closer to that each day. We literally together, with everybody working together out there, anybody listening, one or two people out there who are listening, together, we're literally changing the way men operate and the way men lead in their homes and in their workplaces in the community. Literally just from working through this and talking about where we're falling short, talking about what worked, what didn't work, talking about encouraging, you know, like this is what the data says. This is what real life, like in my experience, says. This is what the Bible says, or this is what faith says, or this is what, anyway, all that to be said, this is the practical application. These are the steps. It's very simple. It's right there in front of people. It's attainable, it's possible, and it just takes taking a lot of the steps that we both talked about and we literally told the stories of that have led us to today.
Yeah. The blueprint we just gave you. Don't wait on happiness. Go build a plan and go get it.
Thanks for listening to the Better Barbarian podcast. Be sure and check us out on YouTube or social media, or head to thebetterbarbarian.com and join our community of like-minded men. See you on the next episode.